The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Saw this last night, Jamie. The headline is College Football Schedules Superlatives for the 2025 season. This is an ESPN article, and it kind of goes through things like toughest schedule, easiest schedule, blah, 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 blah. The toughest overall Power 4 schedule is Florida. Okay? It's a team that finished with 4 straight wins to go 8-5. They started off not very good, and it was, not going very good for Billy Napier. A lot of ugliness against him, but they righted the ship. The easiest overall Power 4 schedule goes to Wake Forest, and you don't really ever think about Wake Forest as a team that is going to make a lot of noise in college football. I mean,
not necessarily in football. He used to think about that in basketball.
Yep, right. The toughest overall non-Power 4 schedule goes to Kent State. Okay. They have 3 Power 4 non-conference games on the road, including here against what they say is number 16 Texas Tech on September the 6th. They also play what they say is number 25 Oklahoma on October the 4th. And then they have MAC preseason favorite Toledo on the road on October the 18th. So, I mean, obviously they're playing some money games there with going to Tech and coming here and going to Oklahoma. The thing that surprised me on this list was the easiest Power 4 non-conference schedule goes to Penn State. Because you could make a case that Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State certainly puts you in the conversation, right?
Sure it does.
And Oregon State doesn't really pose that big of a opposition, but I mean, it is at least a Power 4 team. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
It used to be a Power 4 team, Power 5 team, yeah. But for Penn State, they play Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. This is before they play Oregon at home on September the 27th. The thing that stood out to me, and we haven't talked about this, and maybe you have on the bottom line, and while we haven't talked about it, we've talked about all of these games and all of these things coming up, and this is for Texas Tech, and the point that this article makes at the very end, it has this little snippet about Texas Tech. It says, "Run down Red Raiders." Texas Tech, ranked 15th in the preseason, is pushing all its chips in. We know this. Spending, $28-some million on its roster. We know this. Tech looking for its first double-digit wins for the first time since 2008. We know that. But then it goes to this. But to do it, and we haven't really kind of talked about this particular stretch, but there's a 7-week stretch where you play 7 straight Big 12 games without a bye from October the 4th to November the 15th. At Houston versus Kansas at home, at Arizona State, Oklahoma State at home, at Kansas State, BYU, and UCF at home.
Yeah, I think we talked about that at the very beginning, right after the schedule came out.
But it's been some time since we talked about that.
Correct.
And so you look at that and go, yeah, I mean, it is quite a stretch. You wish you probably had a bye maybe in the middle of that, as opposed to a bye before your last game at West Virginia.
Correct. Yeah.
So I guess that's where you'll see, okay, how did you survive from an injury standpoint for the season? And this is going to be an example of where your depth really has to come through for you.
Yeah, and you hope that you stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
Because, during those stretches when you're talking about depth, like you were there, that that if you've got a bunch of guys that are dinged up, there's really not a time to get them back rested. Mm-hmm. And so you're hoping you have quality players playing behind them.
Yeah. So that just was like, I was like, oh yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about that. When you're kind of looking at it, you think about, well, we start at home. You start the first 3 games are at home, and then you've got a stretch where you're on the road and you've got a bye week, and you go quite some time from the last home game against Oregon to your home game against Kansas, because you're playing a couple of road games. And
Oregon State.
Oregon State. Yeah, right. Oregon State. But you've got that stretch at home where you feel pretty good, and then you go on the road, and then you've got to come back and you don't play until early October against KU for your homecoming game. So anyway, it's just that was just a thought on that. But I'd have to think that when you look at the non-conference ease of schedule, that you got to be in that top 10, right?
Sure. I'm a little bit surprised we weren't number 1.
Yeah, right. That's when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, where's the old Red Raiders in this particular stretch here? So it's a fun little article, and it has something like this: must-see non-conference games coming up. Auburn at Baylor on August the 29th. And they avoided neutral site games. Obviously, Texas at Ohio State. That's going to be a game that's going to be on everybody's radar. Notre Dame at Miami on August the 31st. Michigan at Oklahoma. A&M at Notre Dame. Florida at Miami. USC at Notre Dame. And those 2 schools, I think, trying to see if they can keep that series, and I hope they do, keep that rivalry, because that's been a great rivalry over the years.
Sure
no matter the decades. I mean, there's been times when it's been one of the last games of the year for both those teams. This year it'll be played on October the 18th. And there's a part of me that wonders, at some point in time, and maybe not, that strength of schedule in terms of your non-conference, that you might have to beef it up a little bit, especially for a Big 12 school, saying, okay, if we don't win the conference, how can we at least put ourselves and throw our hat in the ring to have enough of a resume to make a case for ourselves?
Yeah, I think you're making lots of sense there, Chuck. I mean, if you are trying to be the second team and not the automatic bid as the conference champion, you would think you would have to add at least one tough non-conference game, and to give yourself a shot.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously playing the 3 schools that you're playing is not going to help you in that regard.
No, and it's and unless things change, and we've seen things change, for Texas Tech, but next year you're playing at home against Abilene Christian, at Oregon State, and at home against Sam Houston State. So that doesn't send a message of, oh man, we're really stepping it up there to kind of help you get yourself in position. And I realize that you worry about next year, and these things are so subject to change. We've already seen changes from Texas Tech's schedule where now you're seeing, hey, we're going to play 7 home games by hook or by crook, because you just got to because of the money, and in 2027, you're right now scheduled to play Arkansas Pine Bluff, at North Texas, and North Carolina State here at home. So at least there's one there.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It has gone away. It is the first day of August 2025. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
It's also the first Friday of August.
It is.
It is.
Gentlemen, it is also the first day of college football month starts.
Okay.
Let's focus on what's important.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, 1928. Babe Ruth hits a home run number 42 of the year, as in the Yankees' 12-1 win over the St. Louis Browns, putting him 4 weeks ahead of his 1927 pace.
I was going to say, he had a pretty good year in 27.
1957. Gil Hodges hits his 13th Major League Baseball career grand slam, a National League record, and the last by a Brooklyn Dodger player. 1964, Dan Big Daddy Garlitz becomes the first drag racer to run a quarter mile at over 200 miles an hour, reaching a top speed of 201.34 miles per hour.
Nice. At
Island Dragway in New Jersey. As impressive as that is, it's only half as fast as Chuck Heinz's Pinewood Derby car.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It really kind of is. Like, these guys are just not paying attention. They should talk to Chuck in Pinewood Derby. He'd get him set. 1977, San Francisco Giants first baseman Willie McCovey hits a National League record 18th career Grand Slam. After striking out 3 of 7 batters he faced in 2020, former Red Raider Josh Tomlin gets his first win of the year in relief in a brave 7-1 win over the Mets. It is National Raspberry Cream Pie Day.
Yeah, I'm completely out on all of that.
Oh, I love a raspberry pie. I don't think I would want the cream.
Yeah, that's when I thought the cream would push you over the edge there.
Yeah, if you just did like a raspberry pie and a graham cracker crust and drop some whipped cream on top.
Yeah,
let's go.
Isn't that interesting that I knew as soon as he said raspberry cream pie, I knew that you liked raspberry, but I also knew that you wouldn't care for the cream. I feel like I really know you.
I mean, we do sit here together for 3 hours every day.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's totally fair. Okay. And so when Jeff and I have an opinion or an assumption about you and you act like, well, you don't know me. No, we do. We do. Yeah, we do.
Happy birthday to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's 41. Kevin Smith is 55. Kristaps Porzingis is 30. Texas Rangers legend Kobe Lewis is 46. And Golden Tate is 37. And on this day, 1944, Anne Frank, the young Jewish girl hiding out in a Nazi-occupied Holland house, whose diary became to serve as a symbol of the Holocaust, writes her final entry 3 days before she and her family were arrested and placed in concentration camps. In her final entry, Frank wrote that others perceive her and describe her as a bundle of contradictions. She wrote, "As I've told you many times, I'm split in two. One side contains my exuberant cheerfulness, my flippiness, my joy in life, and above all, my ability to appreciate the lighter side of things." Later she wrote, "The happy-go-lucky Anne laughs, gives a flippant reply, shrugs her shoulders, and pretends she doesn't give a darn. The quiet Anne reacts in just the opposite way. If I'm being completely honest, I have to admit that it does bother me, that I'm trying very hard to change myself, but that I'm always up against a more powerful enemy." And that is this day in sports history.
All right, this day in sports history. Thank you, Jeff. It is 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. I have a shocking admission to make to you this morning. I got rerouted yesterday with regard to my schedule for last night, and then it just slipped out of my brain because I was going to have my brother-in-law put the football game on, but got to his house and we got to talking, and he and his wife and my wife and eating some wings, and then I realized about 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, damn. I forgot all about the football game. And I didn't watch a play of the NFL preseason game last night.
I watched one play, saw an interception. Saw like 45 seconds of an interview with Sterling Sharp. Mm-hmm. And they talked about golf. And then they flipped back to the field. And I saw Kyle Allen throw one attempted pass into the end zone that was picked off. And that was enough for me.
Okay. Trey Lance went for the for the Chargers. He went 13 of 20, 120 yards, had a couple of touchdowns, no interceptions. I guess I didn't realize that he had signed with the Chargers. It makes sense. But, is he a guy that can be a hand for somebody at some point in time? He was the number 3 overall pick, a number of years ago for the 49ers. Didn't work out for him there. Went on to Dallas. Dallas, gave up probably more than they needed to give up for him, and never really did anything for the Cowboys either.
Tell me again what the Cowboys gave up for him.
I want to say it was a second-round pick off the top of my head, but I may be wrong about that.
It seemed like a good risk to me, so I'm trying to think.
Third round.
Third round? Okay.
It wasn't first 2 rounds. It was I want to say it was a third-round pick.
Okay.
And it wasn't what you gave up that was frustrating for the Cowboys. It was why make this move. It wasn't it's not that it's nothing, but you can use it to do other things with and build your team. But why are you adding a third-string quarterback?
Yeah.
You have honest to God, why is this the trade you're making?
Mm-hmm.
He was a 4th-round pick.
Fourth round
pick, okay.
4th round. It was a 4th-round pick that they gave up.
Yeah.
I think the answer to that is the Cowboy. I mean, obviously he was highly thought of coming out of college when he was a top 5 pick, and the Cowboys felt like it was worth the risk to take a chance on a guy that maybe was more talented but just needed an opportunity. He kind of lost his job. Obviously, he got hurt, lost the job to Brock Purdy, and the thought is, well, maybe he's still a really good quarterback. Brock Purdy's better. And you make a move, you trade for him with just a 4th-round pick, or you trade to get him with a 4th-round pick, and you think maybe you've got a really quality backup, or maybe you flip him into something better if he turns out to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, he never really could beat out the 2nd-string guy and Cooper Rush, and never. The Cowboys, he felt like even tried to showcase him at the end of the season last year.
Yeah,
just
that didn't necessarily work out either.
Yeah.
And hear me out, it was so that we would talk about the Cowboys and getting a guy who was a first-round draft pick.
There's that. Yeah. The Chargers signed him. Taylor Heineke was their backup last year. They signed him because they felt like at his age, 25, he's just 25. Trey Lance. So you'd think he's got a lot of opportunity left, and he's basically 7 years younger than Heineke. So they thought maybe that there would be some upside there. One of the things,
my next flip of the channel when watching that NFL game last night, to the next channel, the next thing I found was the whatever this $1 million basketball event is.
Okay,
it's still going on. Okay. I don't know how come we don't have teams anymore. We didn't have a team this year.
We did not have a team this year, right?
Anyway, maybe 2 years in a row now we haven't had a team.
That's correct. Yeah.
Anyways, Marcus Santos Silva, our old buddy, was playing for the Shockers of Wichita State, which, remember, that's where he was before he came to us. And it was thoroughly entertaining at the end. They have a point total that you got to get to.
Right.
It's not a clock running out at the end. And one guy for the opposing team lost his mind and got an intentional technical foul late, and so the winning point came on a technical. What a moron.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. One more thing from Coach McGuire, then a couple things from starting quarterback Baron Morton. Coach McGuire was asked about this team versus his first-year team at Texas Tech.
There was some guys, a few guys like this, because it was an older team. You think about, you had Muddy, and you had Boog and Tony Bradford and Kosai. So, Sir Roderick, those guys were old, so they played a lot of football. This team is like that, but you got to multiply it by 2 or 3 times because you're talking about a lot more guys that have played a lot more football. So I think that's a big part of knowing how to practice and what's important in that practice.
The other thing, Jamie, that kind of stands out just from stuff that I've heard from the players, just the various sound bites and interviews and things like that. It seems like and feels like that the guys that have come in have a maturity about them understanding that there's players that have been here in kind of leadership roles, and they're kind of learning their keep, so to speak, and earning their keep, yet also making their presence known. I mean, it's a balance, right? But it just feels like that there's a respect by the new guys coming in for the guys that have been here, and it feels like that respect is also kind of going back from the guys that have been here for the guys that are coming in.
Yeah, I've heard nothing to the contrary to that. I haven't heard a lot of the guys talking about the old guys, whatever, the previous guys, but
I'm talking about the guys that were here.
Yeah.
That were here already here.
Yeah, I understand. Again, I haven't heard a lot of discussion on that, but I think probably the reason for what you're suggesting is that it has to do with the fact that you're bringing in some veterans. You're not bringing in 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. You're bringing in 20 and 21 and 22-year-olds that are veterans that are mature enough to understand. Hey, if I was in their shoes, I'd want to be shown a little bit of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And guys that understand that the success of the team is important, and them kind of blending in and fitting in, and as you say, giving the respect to those other guys is important to get that done to build the chemistry.
Yeah, because I mean we talked in the spring and even in the first part of the summer about what's the culture going to be like with all these changes. I mean, you got new coordinators and some new coaches and here, all the other stuff, too.
Here's another thing to remember, okay? It's not always this way by any stretch of the imagination, okay? But I think it's a lot. A lot of times, the best players are the best guys.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The fringe players are the not as great guys.
Yeah.
The best there's a reason for it. They're disciplined in everything they do in life. Okay? They've had influences around them that have helped them become great athletes, but also have helped them become good people.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you're bringing in a David Bailey who's been at Stanford and is one of the best pass rushers in the country, he's probably a pretty good guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pretty good guy too, and you can on and on for all these guys. I mean, if you heard Skylar Gill-Howard talk the other day,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean that dude's awesome.
Yes.
Okay,
Coach McGuire can't talk about him enough.
Yeah, he was fun to listen to. So, and you'd like to think that your coaching staff is also, when they're recruiting and wanting to bring in these guys, it's not just about their numbers. That they're enough about the kid to say, okay, this kid is a good kid too. You're going to miss on some of those. There's no question. There's no, whether it's the high school recruiting or not. But again, Coach Tadlock has this saying. He says it's hard to be a great player unless you're a great teammate. Okay, there are guys out there that do that. We know that are the contrary to that.
Sure,
we know that. Okay, there are great players that have been thought of as horrible teammates. Okay, it happens. Okay, but I think for the most part, more times than not, great players are good teammates. There's a confidence and a non-insecurity about them. It's the guys that are fighting for playing time or insecure about, well, the coach, is not playing me enough. He's giving somebody else more snaps, or he's giving somebody else more minutes. Those are the chemistry problems. It's not the guys that are the really good players.
Yeah, that's a good point. 7:21 this morning here on the morning drive. All right.
Which means you brought in a bunch of really good players.
Yes, right. I mean, absolutely. If you just right now, they can't say enough good things about each other. All of them. Well, and you hope that continues.
It's day 3 of camp.
I know.
And there are guys on that team that can't stand other guys on that team.
They don't have shoulder pads and helmets on yet. That's today.
Yeah, right.
But they're saying the right things.
And I'm not saying that they hate each other.
But there are guys that don't like other guys. Yeah, whether it's a different position or the same position, whatever.
Ain't nobody hitting anybody yet. That starts today.
All right, Baron Morton. First, Mr. Morton, the quarterback of Texas Tech, talks about his health.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I do. This is most confidently I can say, like, this is the best I've felt in a really long time. I just feel the sensation of my arm kind of coming back, and I don't have that huge bump on my shoulder anymore. So and I've lost 10, 15 pounds this season too. So stealing plays, moving out the pocket when I can, but it's been good.
I mean, you can just hear it in his voice, right? You can just hear it in his voice, and hopefully you see it for yourself, on the field when the games start and things start counting. But makes you feel a whole lot better when you hear stuff like that, and just hear the enthusiasm or the excitement or the confidence, and maybe it's just all those three things combined. One last thing from Barron. He talks about how practice has gone so far.
Feels good to be 100% again. That's the biggest thing. I think that my body feels good, and I haven't felt this good in a really long time. So, it feels really good to be out there. Coach Leftwich's offense is really, really fun to play in, and it's been a fun fall camp already with the guys, and just getting to know each other. We're up here for 12, 15 hours a day. So it's been really good. Yesterday was awesome. Today was great. We got a few things to correct, but, it's been good.
That's Barron Morton. So they're always going to have a few things to correct. There's nothing ever that's going to be just, this perfect, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Otherwise, you feel like your coaches are, sleep at the wheel a little bit.
Yeah, let's see. Syntax Hanks writes in. He says this: agree about best players often being good guys unless they're diva wide receivers.
Yeah, I would guess wide receivers and cornerbacks are the most
defensive ends
outliers in that regard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see defensive ends stomping up and down the sideline, yelling at their teammates like wide receivers?
Greg Hardy.
Well, he's not.
I don't think he was a bad teammate. I think he was a horrible human being.
Right, he's a bad person.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm going with the bad guy.
Yeah.
But by and large, though, you don't see that.
It's wide receivers stomping up and down the sideline. Yeah.
I'm open. Give me the ball. They're not getting me the ball enough. And then campaigning to whoever they can campaign to, about pleading their case.
And defense of them, they believe, hey, I can help the team if you get me the ball.
Yes.
In defense of them.
They're trying to help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing it
the quarterback's like, if I could get you the ball, I would get you the ball. Our offensive line's terrible, okay? I can't get you the ball. But he's not yelling at the offensive line because he's a quarterback, and quarterbacks handle themselves way better than wide receivers.
Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Got a trade value of Micah Parsons to get to you for 8 o'clock this morning, if you're interested. Have a number one reason, according to one talking head, as to why the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. I don't know if the answer is Jerry Jones or not, but we'll get to that. 7:45, it is the Boom Boom Boom, and at 8:30 we'll make predictions with upon further review.
No, it is Jerry Jones.
Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
I mean, it must have been a really short article, right?
The headline had more words in it than the article did.
Yeah. Anything else? Charlie Brown's teacher.
No. Wah, 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 wah. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, you could even cut it down to one word and just say leadership.
Just say wah. Oh, okay.
Right? The article.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you all right now, though.
Well, I mean, we've just already told you.
You kind of poo-pooed it anyway.
You're showing us dead fruit
it.
and saying you don't want to spoil it.
No, we would love to hear this guy's opinion, even though we think he's missing the point.
I don't know that he's missed the point. I think you're kind of right there with him. So,
okay,
a question, sir.
My question for you, gentlemen, today is a very simple one.
Okay.
I just want you to tell me who you think will be playing in the Big 12 championship game in football in 2025.
Ooh. Who do I think will be playing in the Big 12 championship game? Okay, I'm gonna homer it up here. I'm gonna say you are. I'm gonna say Texas Tech is gonna play in the Big 12 championship game. Okay,
It was me.
okay, and I feel like it needs to be somebody that's not on your schedule. Okay.
I don't know how that makes sense, but okay.
Well, I mean, because you don't play everybody in the Big 12.
No, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think in order for, I don't know that there's going to be a rematch. Like on your schedule, I don't know that there's going to be a rematch because I think if you beat somebody, it knocks them out of it. Or if somebody beats you, like a K-State or a BYU or a Utah, that those potentially could knock you out of the Big 12 championship game, and you could knock them out of the Big 12 championship game.
Potentially, but I don't think there's any kind of guarantee there.
I'm going to say Texas Tech and TCU will play for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, that's fun.
I'm going to go Kansas State and Texas Tech playing in the Big 12 championship game.
I don't want to believe that is true because I
don't
feel
either.
like if it's happening, Avery Johnson has played well, and I don't want him to play well.
Yeah.
I really do not want him to play well.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Kansas State. I dislike Avery Johnson.
I dislike losing to them.
Yeah, no, I get it.
K-State has to play at Utah on November the 22nd. That could be a big game for both of those teams.
Mm-hmm. I am going with the Red Raiders. I don't feel like I'm homering it up. I mean, you look at the roster; they should be favored to be there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair statement.
So I don't feel like it's a homer pick.
Yeah.
And I am going with Arizona State. So I am predicting a rematch.
Okay.
I have not, all along, not felt like they're, just because they were there last year, that they're guaranteed to be there this year, and that they're the new dominant team in the Big 12 or anything like that. I am not saying that. Not saying that. I think Iowa State's schedule's tough this year, so I wouldn't pick them. I just don't believe in Avery Johnson, so I'm not picking Kansas State. I think it's the Red Raiders. I would pick, I think it's Arizona State is the other team. Mm-hmm. If you were going to pick another Texas team, I would pick Baylor over TCU.
You would? Okay.
Yeah, I think Baylor could be.
Yeah.
They could be the surprise team that nobody's talking about.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
But I don't know. It feels like Aranda coach teams are better than you expect them to be one year and worse than you expect them to be the next. So.
Yeah.
I don't want to face a Dave Aranda team in the Big 12 championship game. I don't want to face Kansas State in the Big 12 champ. Can't we face Houston in the Big 12 championship game? Can't we make that happen?
That would be shocking.
That would be fun. How do we make that happen?
I mean, TCU's Big 12 schedule is Colorado, K-State, Baylor, West Virginia, Iowa State, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. It feels relatively favorable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. With regard to... Are you guys done on the bottom line picking all your games of every team?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
He's not in charge of keeping track of where they're at.
Do you take that serious, or do you? I mean,
I don't. I try to pick what I think will happen.
Right. No,
he takes it as serious as we do upon further review.
Well, I mean, I just didn't know if you keep track of what you've, like
I think Choice does.
Once the season goes.
I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, once the season goes along, I'm not looking back and going, okay, so I picked Kansas State to win over TCU, so I'm going to pick Kansas State, or I'm going to root for Kansas State to win. No, if TCU winning helps the Red Raiders, if we're tied with Kansas State, I'll be rooting against what I picked.
Baylor's Big 12 schedule is Arizona State, at Oklahoma State, at home against K-State, at TCU, at Cincinnati, home against UCF, and home against Utah, at Arizona, and home against Houston. Okay. So that feels pretty favorable for them the last 2 weeks of the season.
TCU was a surprise pick, I got to say.
Okay, well,
that was a surprise one.
It was just kind of went into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but I don't have any. Baylor's probably the better pick, and K-State's probably the better pick, probably the more likely. I mean, heck, it probably wouldn't surprise. Maybe it would surprise you. It wouldn't surprise some if Baylor and K-State played for the Big 12 championship.
I think it's completely possible.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a shock.
I mean, you could throw Utah into that mix. I wanted to pick somebody that wasn't on your schedule, our schedule, Texas Tech schedule, because I feel like that. I don't think there's going to be a rematch.
Well, I definitely think a one-loss team could still be in the Big 12. So
Sure.
If
Yeah, I know.
one loss was to Arizona State,
Okay.
I still think you could be there playing an undefeated Arizona State team.
Mm-hmm.
Or a one-loss Arizona State team who lost the next week to Kansas, Chuck.
I hope the Jayhawks knocked K-State out of the Big 12 championship, and if Texas Tech's in the Big 12 championship, I just assume KU be not there, be observing from afar.
Don't worry, they won't be.
You think they're there?
No, I think they'll be observing from afar for the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, I do too.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
At 9 this morning, it's the end of the bench. High noon today, the bottom line. And then don't forget Tech Talk this afternoon from 3 until 6. The Micah Parsons saga continues. Do you think this gets resolved with him signing a new contract before the first football game?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. It feels like right now both sides are not talking to each other, maybe doing more talking to friends and family and the media than anything else. Should the Cowboys consider a trade of Micah Parsons?
Yes.
What's the offer?
Yeah. What are you offering?
What if the offer was 2 first-round picks?
Sold right now. I'm not even going to let you get an opportunity to think about that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't trade first-round draft picks. Absolutely, I would trade it.
Yeah.
Right now.
San Francisco 49ers probably wouldn't be a candidate for that because they traded theirs for Trey Lance.
2 first round right now.
Okay.
1 first round, I might snap at it and say yes.
Really? 1. Okay.
I would be shocked if they get offered more than a second round, like a couple second round picks.
Okay. Yeah, and because it just, how do you think the fan base would respond to that?
If you traded him for 2 first-round picks,
Yeah.
they would probably be open to that.
Okay. Do you think that would signify a change in philosophy for?
Yes, which is why they'd be open to it.
I mean, the price is only going up.
Or they feel like they're not getting anywhere with Micah, and they're worried it's not going to get done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that, or maybe even would you even say a first and a second, Jeff? Would you sell then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're offering me a first, I'm probably saying yes. Anything on top of that is sweetening the deal.
Okay, so if you do something like that, then probably others need to go as well, right?
Well, I can't get rid of Dak's contract because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get rid of CeeDee Lamb. He's like the one guy who's earning his money.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you're at as a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and now Micah Parsons, which is what we predicted 3 years ago, and yet here we are sitting in training camp having this conversation again. Hi, this is why I'm frustrated. I am not what's the word? I can't see into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have mystic powers, but we all saw this coming like a train coming down a tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, here we are. Thank you, Jerry Jones.
You feel like they keep doing the same thing. ESPN's Mike Greenberg and one other guy say the number one reason why the Dallas Cowboys haven't won in the last 30 years, and not having what they say the answer goes beyond Dak Prescott and Tony Romo not having what it takes. Greenberg concluded that Dallas struggles so consistently because they've hamstrung themselves by waiting on giving lucrative contract extensions. This is something we've all talked about, right?
Yes.
He pointed to the last 2 seasons with regard to CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. In both cases, he found that the team's decision to wait on extending them likely drove up the price on their eventual contracts significantly, which is what is going on with Micah Parsons.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
And the Washington Commanders, with their quarterback right now, they're after this year, and he would have one more year on his rookie deal. They're gonna go ahead and start working on his next contract to get ahead of the game. I mean, it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, sure.
For Jalen Daniels, it just makes perfect sense.
Hopefully, that means you can get him a little bit cheaper.
Yes. Many Cowboy fans were happy to agree with Greenberg, reasserting that Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has been the problem in Dallas for a long time.
Is there an echo in here?
Yes. No, I don't.
Got to be an echo in this room somewhere.
I'm saying it louder for everyone in the back, as you like to say, Jeff, and in the front row, too, that weren't paying attention.
Like we've been saying it for 4 years?
Yeah.
I'm not upset with you, Chuck. And please don't think that I am.
I know
I'm
you're not.
You constantly see the same mistakes over and over and again.
And that's what they're saying, is that it's a definition of insanity, which is what we know is that you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get the same result.
Yep, with the same leader doing the same thing, focused on all of the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy at the chat line, he's right that Romo absolutely drugged that team to some 8-win seasons. I will say this. I am a Tony Romo fan. I liked Romo. I loved watching him as a player. I always felt like he gave you a chance to win. You didn't always win, but he always felt like he was giving you a chance to win. Tony Romo was also the reason for some of those 8 losses in those games, specifically. He was as responsible for the 8 wins as he was the 8 losses. And I loved Romo. Like his escapability at times, again, behind some bad offensive lines, some clutch plays that he made, his attitude that he was always going to try. You never questioned his effort and trying to win. I thought he was probably... I do think he's the best quarterback the Cowboys have had since Troy Aikman. I don't think
hard
that's
to argue that.
And I would make the argument he is the best of the non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'd make the argument.
Dak's had a couple spectacular seasons, but there's also... I mean, he and Romo both just never got you anywhere in the postseason.
I don't know. I as much as I hate to say his name out loud, I think Danny White.
I'd make the argument that Romo. I think he is a worthy candidate for that argument. But it's those two that are neck and neck.
Yeah.
But I'll also say this: Romo had his flaws, and when I compare Dak's numbers to Tony Romo and Dak's abilities to Tony Romo, I kind of feel like they're the same guy, which means I kind of need to root for Dak Prescott. Makes it really hard when you can't do anything else because of that contract.
I mean, Danny White takes the Cowboys to a Super Bowl if the Cowboy defense had played just a little bit better on that last drive there by Montana.
Sure.
I mean, there was really one play. I mean, I think the play before the catch. The Cowboys,
but that's taking them to the Super Bowl, not winning it.
I understand that, but in that case, if they got
that's
to that Super Bowl, they probably beat Cincinnati.
Done.
I think that was Cincinnati that they would have played in that Super Bowl. But the other thing is this in this article, there's a quote from a Cowboy fan. I'm not sure Greeny establishes with specifics how the front office philosophy of extending its top players has caused Cowboy failures. Oh, man, have you not been watching this the last 30 years? You could also argue they haven't hired the best available coaches. I don't know. I mean, Mike McCarthy was a Super Bowl winning coach. You could maybe make that case with Chan Gailey and this newest hire with Brian Schottenheimer. But
Chuck just stick up for Mike McCarthy?
Did
the guy that you were wondering if he was going to get fired after
every year
minute 8 they hired him?
Michelin man, you know.
Yeah.
or the players that have simply failed to perform their best in the postseason. It's probably all of that. But at the end of the day, and you can put some of this blame too at the feet of Dak Prescott, who demanded to be paid exactly every dollar that he was worth, and some, because he made no effort to give a quote hometown discount or to help the team out at all.
It's twofold. When the Cowboys franchise tagged him, and I think when they tagged him, he went to 40. I think that's the number. I might be wrong on that, but whatever it was. At that point, he's not signing a contract for less than $40 million a year. That was mistake number one in not getting a deal done then. You then fast forward and compound it that you wait until the day of the first week, I think, or the Friday before the first game to get his next contract signed. So Dak's got all the leverage, and you've got to pay him because you're starting quarterback for game one. You have continually waited until the last possible second to sign these guys that you could have done 2 years earlier or a year earlier in some cases, and saved you enough to get you the left tackle that you need.
Yeah. Did Chuck just weight shame Mike McCarthy? You must be new here. Yeah, I mean, I felt like he looked like he looks like the Michelin Man because those jackets are just so tight.
We're just glad it wasn't choice this time.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.